Hello, believers of Christ. Hope you're doing well. So, today I'll be taking you guys through Genesis 3, verse 7. And it says, "And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons." So, that's the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So, this verse has 5 main teachings or lessons we can take away from it. The first one, sin brings awareness of guilt and shame. Before eating the fruit, Adam and Eve were naked but felt no shame, as seen in Genesis 2, verse 25. After disobeying God, their eyes were opened, and they immediately recognized their nakedness, as we saw. This shows that sin distorts our perception and brings guilt, fear, and insecurity. The second teaching, disobedience leads to broken innocence. Their new awareness was not the wisdom Satan promised, but rather a painful realization of their fallen state. Sin often promises enlightenment or fulfillment, but it actually leads to regret and spiritual separation from God. Yeah, sin always looks like it has benefits, but it's disguised. It always comes as sin is always disguised as good, but afterwards it's a mess. It's worse than good. It's just worse. And this is what happened here. They ate of the fruit. They got awareness that they thought they got the awareness that Satan was perpetuating. That Satan was perpetuating to be enlightenment, but in real sense it brought shame, guilt, and fear. They were enlightened. They weren't enlightened. In fact, they fell. They fell more. Like they lost. They lost their sense of godliness. The third teaching: human efforts cannot cover sin. Adam and Eve tried to cover their shame with fig leaves, but their attempt was inadequate. This symbolizes how people often try to fix their mistakes or cover their guilt through human efforts. But true redemption comes only from God. Yes, it's human behavior. It's human behavior and human nature. Anytime we make a mistake, we try fix it. But human effort is not enough. We need spiritual. We need God to fix our mistakes and help us fix our mistakes. Us alone, we can't. You can't always be trying to create fig leaves after you've done a mistake in life all the time, man. You need God. Fig leaves are not enough, man, to cover our sins and our nakedness. Fig leaves are not enough to cover our nakedness. Human effort is not enough when we sin. We need God. The first attempt of self-righteousness, the fourth teaching. Instead of turning to God for help, Adam and Eve tried to solve their problem on their own. This reflects how people often rely on their own works instead of seeking God's grace and forgiveness. Yes, anytime we make a mistake, we should seek God's grace and forgiveness first. And that's enough. That's enough. God's forgiveness and grace is enough in our lives. It's enough. You don't need more. You just need God's grace and God's forgiveness after you've made a mistake or an error. That's all you need. Sin changes our relationship with God and others. The fifth and final teaching. Before the fall, Adam and Eve had complete awareness and openness with God and each other. After sin, they felt the need to cover themselves. This shows that sin not only damages our relationships with God, but also affects how we relate to others, often leading to shame, secrecy, and broken trust. Yes. Every time we sin against someone else, there are always 3 scenarios. Shame, secrecy, we don't want them to know that we made a mistake or we did them wrong, or it leads to broken trust. Yes, sin leads to broken trust. We as Christians should be aware of sin's deceptive promises. Sin may look desirable at first, but it always brings guilt and consequences. Yes. We as Christians, instead of relying on self-effort, we should seek God's forgiveness and grace. When we sin, the best response is to turn to God, not hide from Him. Yes, when we sin, we should look for God's grace and forgiveness and mercy as quickly as possible, ASAP. We as Christians should recognize sin damages relationships and creates distance from God and others. We should seek reconciliation with God and others. So that's all I had for today, guys. Thank you very much. God bless.